Good morning students. Again I am Gunjan Garg in front of you with a new chapter of class 7th. Students, today we will discuss the chapter A Ship on Fire at Sea in this video. So be careful and try to understand this chapter. Students, let's start this chapter A Ship on Fire at Sea. As you are looking in this picture, this is a story of a ship which caught fire. Student, this is a story of a ship caught fire in despair which it sailed among the high tides in the middle of the ocean. The story reveals the adventure of the passenger on board at the ship and the crew who risked their lives to save fellow companions. The ship finally submerged into the ocean beds with the help arrived. This is a story of struggle for its passenger. Now, let's read the story. "What is it?" I exclaimed. "What can it be?" She pointed with her finger, and as the yacht swung round, she said, "Look there, ma'am, look." So, here in this story, the first scene is, "What is it?" I exclaimed. "What can it be?" Then, a lady pointed with her finger, and as the yacht, means boat, swung round, and she said, "Look there, ma'am, look." As she spoke, two strange objects come into my view. When the lady spoke, then suddenly two strange objects come to in my view. One was a great pale moon, sickly and white, hanging and seeming to brood over the horizon. The other, which looked about the same size, was red and seemed to lie close at her side. Whatever it was the cause of the commotion which had been so intense and which loss seemed to be already subsiding. I had heard the man called up not 3 minutes before, and now 2 boats were already lowered, and Tom was in command of the foremost. I heard her voice coming from the water, and no one prevented me now from rushing to the side to look over. Students, in this paragraph, a lady pointed her finger when she saw a dangerous scene. As the lady spoke, Tom saw two strange objects. One was great pale moon. After looking the moon, he felt anxious because it was pale and sickly. And the other thing was the same size, and it was red, and it looked like a storm. Then he heard that the man called up not 3 minutes before, and 2 boats were already in lower area. After hearing these type of voices, Tom ran to the side to look what is the matter. Oh, that sight! Can I ever forget it? The fire was spurting from every crevice of the black hull. Her great mainmast was gone. The mizzenmast lay with several great white sails surging about in the water, and she was dragging it along with her. The foremast only stood, and its rigging and sails had not yet caught. He said that he never forget the scene, because fire was bursting out suddenly from every narrow crack. Her great mainmast was gone, means main pillar was gone, with several great white sails surging about in the water, and she was dragging it along with water, but its rigging and sails had not caught. A dead silence had succeeded now to the commotion in the vessel. Men were standing stock still, perhaps waiting for their orders, and my uncles were the only eyes that were not strained to follow the leaping and dazzling spires. Every passing moment we approached closer to the scene. Now the first waft of the smoke came in our faces. Now we could hear the crackling and rending, the crack and shiver, and the peculiar roaring noise made by a mysterious fire. In this way, a dead silence and noisy confusion entered on the ship. Men were standing motionless. They were waiting for the orders. Only my uncle was showing too much effort to follow the leaping and dazzling spires. Every moment we approaching closer to the scene, and now we feel the fire smoke on our faces, and now we could hear the cracking and rending, the crack and shiver, and the peculiar roaring noise made by a dangerous fire. Then The narrator says, I never saw anything like the horrible beauty of that red light. It added tenfold to the terror of the scene to see her coming on so majestically, dragging with her broken spars and great yards and sprawling sails. The moon went down, and in a few minutes the majestic ship supplied all the light to the dark sky and black water. I saw the two little dark boats nearing her, knew that my brother was in the foremost, and shook with fear. But while I and all gazed in awful silence at the sailing ships, the flames spread themselves out like quivering fans. I saw very sail that was left in an instant bathed in flames. A second burst came ragging up from below, blackening and shivering everything before it. Then I saw the voltering fire run down again, and still the wreck, plunging her bows in the water, came rocking on and on. Students, the narrator called the beauty horrible because the source of light was a fire which was likely to be the cause of her brother's death, along with many more passengers. The ship sank in few minutes. The fire spread everywhere like quivering fans. The narrator saw every sail that was left in an instant bathed in flames, and a second burst came ranging up from below. Everything was blackening and shivering. Then I saw the voltering fire run down again, and still the wreck, plunging her bows in water, came rocking on and on. Again and again the fire was rocking. The black water took in and quenched all the blazing top hamper, and still the awful hissing was audible. Now the narrator can only hear these dangerous voices because the ship had lost in the water, till suddenly there was a thunderous roll, and she plunged head foremost and went down blazing into the desolate sea, and everything lost into the desolate sea. In one instant that raging glow and all the fire's illumination of the fire were gone. Darkness has settled on the face of the deep. Oh, the misery of the next half hour. The boats, when that ill-fated ship went down, must, I knew, have been very near her. Had they been sucked in, had they been overturned, or had they been so blessed as to be saved, and to save some of the rest passenger and crew of all persons in the yacht, then perhaps I suffered most. When all the passengers, narrator also suffered most. I was the most ignorant. I had no one speak to for Mrs. Brand. Then he saying to Mrs. Brand that there was no one to speak. Perhaps lest I should question her, had retreated, and I could not think of addressing my uncle. He had plenty on his mind and on his hand, because his uncle was remaining on his plenty on his mind and on his hands. Students, in this paragraph, the narrator is telling us what happened when the ship had sunk. In one instant, that raging glow and all the fire's illumination of the fire were gone. After sinking the ship, all the fire's illumination of the fire were gone. Darkness had settled on the face of the deep. Everywhere were darkness because there were no people. Oh, the misery of the next hour. The boats, what ill-treated, fated ship went down, must, I knew, I have been very near her. He was thinking that he was going to near them to save them, but it was too late. Had they been sucked in, had they been overturned, or had they been so blessed as to be saved, and to save some of the rest passenger and crew of all persons in the yacht, then perhaps I suffer most. In this way he was thinking to save all the passengers, but with all the passengers he also suffered most. Then the narrator says, I was the most ignorant. I had no one to speak to, because everyone were die on that ship, so there was no one to speak them. For Mrs. Brand, perhaps lest I should question her, had retreated, and I could not think of addressing my uncle. Even he could not think to address his uncle. Had plenty on his mind and on his hands. At last, Brand standing near me again, I said, "Oh Brand, cannot we go nearer the place where that ship sunk?" Now the narrator want to go where the ship had at that place where the ship had sunk. "Ma'am," he replied, "we are sailing now as maybe over the very spot where she went down." Then he said that we are going there where the ship had sunk, but you have no call to be frightened. Don't be afraid, everything has been done that can be done. We hope to directly we sighted her. Now they were expecting that they can sighted her. "Yes," I said, "but what good could that do?" "Why, ma'am," he replied, "he could not have lowered the boats without that. And then when they were off, we filled that stood in as near as we dared." "Then where are the boats?" I inquired. Then he inquired, "Where are the boats?" "God knows, ma'am." "And what are these lights for?" "Everyone you put up makes it harder to see anything. How and we to find them?" Now they want to find every passengers. "We have no call to find them, but they know that they cannot find them." He replied, "We want them to find us. Most likely there are other boats about, boats from the ship. We want to make ourselves as conspicuous as we can. And why cannot we pick up any of the poor creatures that may have been bored?" Now again he is asking the questions that we can pick up any of the poor creatures that may have been on the board. He said, "Surely we could have heard their cries. We can heard only their cries, and could now we are not half a quarter of a mile from her." "No, ma'am, nothing like that distance. Not half that distance. That's why our people think she may have been deserted." The steward passed on, and I covered my face with my hands and moaned in the misery. My heart, "Oh my brother, oh my only brother, had I really lost him so?" I got up again, gazed out over the dark water, and longed for the dawn. Dawn means morning. Something better than dawn was destined to meet my eyes. Between us and a spar that still glowed, two dark objects stood suddenly, a boat and black figure, the moving oars, another behind her. I shall never forget with what a thrill of joy I heard our people cheer. In 10 minutes we could hear the stroke of their oars, and directly after Tom was on deck and his crew with him. "God bless you," said my uncle to Tom. "Anybody saved?" "One," said Tom. "Only one, sir." Students, in this paragraph, Tom is the narrator's brother, and he is telling the story to narrator's uncle. And Tom is telling his uncle that there was only one survivor. They were able to rescue from the burning ship. In the last, Brand said that ship may have been deserted because they did not hear any cries of help coming from the ship, and the sailors were cheering for the safe return of the rescue boats and the men who had gone for the rescue. Students, I hope you understand the story. Before starting this story, you can study the glossary of this chapter, which is in the book. Students, as you know, this story is very adventurous story, and Tom tried his best to save the passengers, but at last only one passenger is saved. So be careful and read this chapter. Thank you, everyone.